One.
Hey, Mike. I was wandering around this creepy haunted house. I found this tape in this recorder. So I was wondering if you wanted to watch this found footage.
I would love to. That sounds like a great idea. Nothing could ever go wrong if we were to watch found footage.
No, not at all. Hey, everybody! You've stumbled upon the first, the last, the Nerdom for another time, and we're talking about a couple of found footage movies that have one came out just this last couple of weeks called Deadstream, and then a little older one called As Above, So Below. And hey, Mike, how's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. Now, when I recommended found footage, you weren't familiar with the term right
I
off
was
the
like,
bat.
what's that?
And then I said a Blair Witch, and everything clicked into place.
I was
And
like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, that was like one of the that I love that one. Still do to this day. Uh,
mhm,
it was unique for what it did. Free
yep,
internet era, and well, it's something we'll never see again, probably. So it was kind of cool.
yeah. And it wasn't the one that invented found footage. It's
But,
definitely popularized it. If you go on Wikipedia and look up found footage, you'll see like a huge list of movies that are considered found footage, and I guess there's also sort of a kind of dispute on what exactly you mean by found footage as far as terms, but it's been popularized and taken over by people that see movies like Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch as it. The one that they consider the first one is Cannibal
okay.
Holocaust, which I have not seen. I've seen a lot of old horror movies, but cannibals never really interested me. I know me claiming to be a horror fan, I haven't seen Cannibal Holocaust. Some people will throw rocks at me, possibly, but yeah, it's something that I might eventually see. But yeah, and then there's some science fiction slash horror ones like Cloverfield, and I'd forgotten about Chronicle. It's one that's considered found footage as well. I don't know if you've seen that. It's a
I have
sci-fi one.
no, I haven't, but I
Okay.
that's gonna jump on my list up real quick. I'll tell you that. I did notice I was perusing here while you're talking. Cloverfield, I like that.
Mhm.
Paranormal Activity, I like that one. And of course, Blair Witch, we just talked
Yep.
about. I've never seen Cannibal Holocaust yet. I have no idea what the hell's that's about. But zero. Well, there's the other Europa report. I That's one I've always wanted to watch, and it's always been in my listings or whatever. Like when I flip through something to watch, and I'm not quite sure, but I've never like just never took the plunge and watched it for some reason.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I've read that it's good. Anyway, not
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah. And if you scroll
But
down,
else.
they have a list of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is that?
There's like a few of them right before you hit Blair Witch, and then there's explosion of movies after that. But yeah, the so you can see where the influence came from. But there's one that I really love, Man Bites Dog, that came out a few years before Blair Witch. It's a French movie where this film crew follows around a serial killer, and I would love to do that one at maybe a later date as well.
Sure.
But yeah, the the found footage in that Wikipedia article, it kind of points out that it has its inspiration from literature. A lot of the H.P. Lovecraft stories are written like a diary that maybe is found after the guy's gone crazy or gone missing. Dracula is very much told in that fashion through, say, letters and journals. It's not structured like a traditional book. It's all found diaries, journals, and letters that have been put together for a narrative. So that's very much like a found footage, and so is Frankenstein. So there's elements of that from literature, and I see the influence on found footage throughout everything. Like they mention um, science fiction, but think about The Office. The Office is much like found footage, the TV series. It's all done through interviews and cameras and whatnot, and we don't know where all that footage went to, where it's, we don't know the backstory behind all of that. I think in later seasons they get involved with the camera people and all that crap, but at least the first few seasons it's all very sort of, just the footage. You're seeing the footage, you don't know how it all came together, where it's come from, or anything. And then there's What We Do in the Shadows, which is very much like found footage, the FX vampire comedy show. There was also a movie based on that. But yeah, and then there's also influences on the internet with YouTube. There's a lot of faked ghost and whatnot sightings and whatnot. There's the back rooms that we spotlighted it a long while back in one of our podcasts, that takes place in this mysterious place called the back rooms. I know creepypastas have been inspired through found footage. Right now there's a big influence on ARGs, where that's sort of like interactive things where people they put like little puzzle videos up on YouTube, and people have to figure out the backstory or what's going on. Some of them tie into clues that are in real life and whatnot, and that's very much, it has that found footage flavor to it. But yeah, some people may have kind of dismissed Blair Witch as just a gimmick, but it's very much come into very much of a style of its own, and it's sort of supplanted, say, the slasher movies from the 80s and 90s, and have kind of taken over, and have had this dominant effect over for the past 2 or 3 decades here. I guess going on to the third.
Yeah, and I would say, say what you want about Blair Witch, good or bad or whatever, but at the end of the day, like, I think it broke the dam. It sounds like, to open up new ways for people to experiment and template off of, so to speak. Not always good, but some could be very good. And it's everything in its own right, hopefully.
Right.
But you could tell if something is just copied, it's garbage or whatever. But like I said, I remember it. I enjoyed it. I even enjoyed Blair Witch 2, but that one was kind of like a stinker. But it was all right. I mean, it was all right. It's whatever. But
yeah, and it's kind of the great equalizer, because huge studios could do it, like with Cloverfield, or a very small film crew could do it, like with Deadstream, that we're going to talk about here in a minute. So you can make it on a micro budget, and it's actually better to do it on a smaller budget, because you want like really fancy cameras. You're going to be using what's available at the time, because a lot of them are supposedly being filmed by video cameras and whatnot, video cameras. So that cheapness actually adds to the kind of, you call like the realness of it, or whatnot.
I saw that in the article there. Yeah, and it's true. That's something that is a little obvious, but yeah, it makes sense, because like that, the whatever, the jarring things, that it's like, oh well, you would accept that because it's these mysterious tapes that they found, and hey, do you want to watch it? Oh my god.
And there's a whole industry of people faking ghost sightings and whatnot. It's creepy stuff happening. You can see it all over YouTube, all over TikTok. Some very laughably funny, and some that are very convincing, and you have to really kind of look at it, see how they're faking what they're doing there. There's a channel that I was going to recommend on Grab Bag called Chills, and he always does like a top 10 list or a top 15 or whatever of creepy videos, and he knows he's playing towards the 10 to 12-year-old market. And he has a very unique voice. I can do a little bit of an impression. People could judge me on it. It's like, number 5, man confronted by a demon.
I think I've heard intonation for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a so he's it's very I believe it's a put upon voice that he's kind of crafted for himself, but yeah, it's always fun to imitate him. But without further ado, I think we could jump into Deadstream. I recommended both Deadstream and As Above So Below because I've heard things about them and I hadn't seen them, and I was itching for some new stuff to watch, and I think it paid off. What do you think?
I liked it. I did. I liked. I did enjoy these two films differently, but the ones that we're going to get into.
Yeah,
but
they're very different.
Yeah, I was surprised. This one was one that, like, initially, like when I was watching it, I kind of felt in tune with and out of tune with a little bit. But then after I was done, it won me over. But it was so pretty good. It kind of came back, and it was just like. I thought it was very interesting. It was almost like commentary on,
It's
modern day. It's almost like it's Idiocracy is for comedy. This is but for horror, but still passing along that commentary on our culture today. Like, it was just, I did enjoy it. So like after that, like after it got going and like I got into a groove with it, then it made more sense and I did enjoy it more.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I was going to say, yeah, the tone of it, I was having trouble with because okay, they're being funny at the beginning, but they're going to really amp up the horror later where it gets really creepy. So I was like you, I was kind of thrown off a little bit midway through, but then I realized they were going for a very much an Evil Dead 2 vibe for it, and in that sense, if you're in the mood for Evil Dead
Sam
2
Raimi's,
kind of vibe,
yep,
yeah, Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2.
I agree with that.
That's the mindset you want to go into this with. I know a lot of times I try to tell people not to watch trailers, just go into a movie blind, but I think you're probably better off knowing that it's got that flavor of Evil Dead 2, because I was kind of thrown off, but it won me over by the end. If I'd kind of clicked into that mindset, so on a second viewing, I think I'll enjoy it a whole lot better, knowing that. But yeah, like you were saying, it's a very self-aware movie.
Yeah,
and it knows internet culture. It's very there's certain there's certain movies or TV shows that try to get hip the kids and try to do sort of like a YouTube story or whatnot, and it really rings false. It's if you do it incorrectly, it really plays really stupid. Yeah, very stupid.
Canceled. Yeah.
Yeah, but Deadstream really is kind of tied into what's cool and what's now, but it also tells a unique and universal story, so that I don't think it's going to be out of date later on. It'll be of its time, but I don't think it'll go out of fashion or become something that no one watches anymore. And it's written and directed by I think a writing couple or a husband and wife, and Joseph Winter, the guy who co-wrote and directed it, also stars in it. He's the main guy. He also does the music to it, which is very reminiscent of John Carpenter's music.
Wow.
And but yeah, so yeah, he's a
talented dude.
Mm-hmm. So it's about this disgraced YouTuber slash Livid streamer, which Livid takes the place of Twitch, obviously. Since the whole movie pretty much takes place in the world of streaming of so they, I guess, as far as rights and whatnot, they didn't feel comfortable, I guess, saying it was Twitch, but so they come up with their own little Livid thing. So he's done some bad things on YouTube. He's been canceled on all the platforms, but he's recently got his channels back. He's done the obligatory apology video on YouTube, which is referenced in it, and he wants to do a live stream of a haunted house, and he's done a few things to make sure. He's a big scaredy cat, so he made some choices like locking himself into the haunted house.
Not
And
just that,
also
he went over the friggin' top. He removed the spark plugs from his car. He basically
threw him out in the woods.
whatever. Like, oh, just go, which is tremendously stupid. Like, why couldn't you just put him by the tire? It's not like you're
Right.
whatever, but whatever. And then he just does his things, and where his home base is at comes into play a little bit later, and whatnot. Like, no spoilers, but yeah, he really hams it up every time you see him on screen. He's like 11, like always, like, so, which was kind of like it was slightly grating a little bit, but when you like understand that that's part of the whole bigger picture, then you kind of, it goes down a little bit easier. But initially it was kind of hard to get off the starting line with it.
Right, and he was definitely aping the YouTube and Twitch personalities that appeal to the 10 and 12-year-olds that avidly watch this stuff. So he's kind of channeling PewDiePie and Markiplier and all of those guys. Yeah,
Markiplier with his calendars and whatnot.
Yeah. So yeah, he's very much channeling that. So you definitely key into that vibe, and but yeah, I love the fact that they puts up all these cams that are motion motion
his wife
triggered, motion triggered, and all over the house, and he puts them in key spots, like there's the there's like the corner man or whatever that shows up in the bedroom, which was kind of a red herring, because you thought maybe the corner man was going to be the big ghost or whatnot that comes out, but he's very much he's very much underplayed in this. So there's some things that are pointed out, like it's that whole thing about, if you show a gun in the first act, you're going to have to use that gun in the third act, that whole film idea. So when he's going through the house and he's pointing all these things out, you go, okay, well, that will probably play in later. That's going to, but he points out so many things that it's kind of, at the end, you're still kind of surprised at certain things that come back, because you've forgotten, because he's kind of overloaded you with all this information, which is,
there's a lot. Like, even right off the bat, there's like a friggin' dump of information, and I'm not gonna lie, like I was like, wait a second, and then I would rewind, skip back to the first part, like what's going on. It's like, oh, okay, that makes it, because I forgot a part. I unfortunately had to wake it when I watched this. I watched it broken up a little bit, so I had to catch up on my thing. But in any case, but it once you get into it, it makes more sense, and then it's kind of funny. It has its moments. I mean, it's not like hilarious, but it has this little cringe, cheeky.
And at points he'll pull up his chat, and his chat very much,
even when he's like gonna pee his pants from being scared.
It's very much true for streamers. Even when they're playing video games, you have to have that ability to switch, be able to pay attention to chat and do stuff while you're playing the game and stuff. So he's really got that down. Obviously, making a movie kind of imitating that kind of works. It works a little easier, but the chat is almost like a character in and of itself, and it plays really well with it reads like a real chat. I'm sure you've seen chats before, and there there's those that say, hey, way to go, Sean, yeah, and then then there's those that say, fake. What
Right.
about your ex-girlfriend? And it's just the whole, it kind of runs the gamut of what you would normally see in a chat. The only thing that didn't ring true for me was the fact that if he was live streaming, you would constantly be getting donations,
Oh yeah, yeah,
tips
like
and
super chats. Yeah, yeah,
subscribers.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
and that always kills the mood of a live stream. If I'm watching something, if there's a lot of donations, and they're reading them constantly, this movie would have turned out to be like a 5-hour ordeal if they had added that. So it
Yeah,
makes sense that you cut that element out, but that's the only thing that kind of was like, hey.
yeah, that's a good point too, because the audience, which I wanted to make, we've kind of talked around it, but the audience is also a cast member in this show. It's also the star. So like you get to have that unique play off of that sort of thing without breaking the fourth wall, so to speak. But it's just interesting how it experiments with that, and how it comes. Like basically, he just always relies that his audience is going to be there, and it's just like, I don't know what this Latin is, whatever, but oh, it's okay. The audience will, some nerd out there will translate it for me on the fly.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
whatever, you know.
oh yeah, that was an awesome thing where
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Which is so true. That's friggin' Reddit. That's like Reddit. That's like modern day
Mhm.
Reddit, like where
Yep.
little Reddit detectives that think they're solving the case or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the whole the whole tone is pretty fun. And I think I don't know how many other movies have done something similar to this, but
I
I
don't
think,
recall.
yeah, I think if this kind of catches on, this will inspire quite a few others to do similar things. But this is done quite well. It might be tempting for, say, a YouTube or Twitch personality after seeing this do a movie of their own that's similar to this.
Right.
But I don't
It
know
would
if
be
that would,
cool,
yeah,
maybe.
that could be. But I think and if it's done right, obviously it could be really cool. But they have the cool thing about this is we don't have prior attachments to this persona, this Wrath of Sean guy.
Right.
So we can kind of detach and kind of laugh at him for being stupid. Whereas if it's another YouTube personality, they'll have the baggage of their fans coming along, that they won't have the kind of judging them outside of who they are.
Yeah, it works. It has good parts, campiness at times, humor,
Yep.
gross out horror, like whatever, like that standard thing. Like that's kind
Right.
of like, if you don't do this, then you're gonna miss out. But it's I don't know how I'd rate it on a number system, because I don't think it would be fair to do it that way. But it in its own right, it was good. It stood on its
Yeah.
own, and like after you kind of got it, and I would like to revisit this another time and see if it holds up, like maybe in a year or two.
Yeah.
See if it's something that I want to watch. Like I would suspect yes. But yeah, it was good. It's good.
Yeah, it's one of those, yeah, like that. I had trouble kind of settling into what it was trying to be. I
Right.
was trying to force something on it that it wasn't at one point. So once I realized
Right.
what it was, I I was able to enjoy it. And the sometimes the special effects or the FX kind of throws you out a little bit, because they're, like you said, they're a bit campy, but that's the
Yeah,
point
that's
of
what
them.
I meant by that. Yeah, and actually that's a good point, because I don't remember when, but I got through a good chunk of it, and then I was just like not feeling it. But I didn't want to like continue watching it in that state. So like I kind of just like, I'll just pause it and I'll come back. And then I came back a little bit later, and then it was like a little bit better.
Yeah.
To you, and I've done that too, like where the pause button does make movies better. Especially if you're like just sitting all the way through them. Like case in point would be that Batman, the Matt Reeves Batman. Like that was just too much in one sitting. But I paused it. Like we watch an hour every night going, through three nights, and I loved it. It was really it it makes sense like that, which is kind of weird. But like, if I had to have sat through the whole 2 hours of it, like I probably would have come away with a little bit more negative opinion had I not stopped. Yeah. And like, you know what? I'm distracted by other things. Like, I'll come back because this thing is kind of like irritating me a little bit. Like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, what are we doing? Like, let's get going with the story. Like, I get the whole thing, but anyway. But yeah, like if you're patient with it, it pays off. I would say that. Say that.
Sure. And I think I agree with the rating. 6.6, maybe 6.6, maybe a 7. It doesn't reinvent. Go ahead.
I'm. You know what? I'm going to say, like, I wouldn't be able to put a number on this because I think it would not be fair. But in my personal opinion, but 6, I think is fine. Like, unlike the other ones, like this is probably the first one that in the past weeks that we've been covering these horror films, like where you're like, but they're always like a notch below where they really should be or whatever. I think this is a little bit more on the head than not, in my opinion. So I would agree with like that's being pretty generous. But a positive benefit of the doubt. So, I could see like where somebody watches this and they just, I'm not into it. But I could also see like if you stick around, like you are rewarded. I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah, and I think there's elements that have been done before and done better, but like say they take the fun of Evil Dead 2, so that's nothing new. They take found footage, which is nothing new, and they took internet culture, which is nothing new, obviously, but they took all three of those elements and combined them and made them all work together well, so that I think it's one of those movies that will continue to grow, and I think there's definitely an audience for it. Maybe it skews a little younger than us.
I think so.
But yeah, it's I definitely recommend it if you're into horror, found footage, and if you love Evil Dead 2, I think you'll enjoy it. It may not be the the movie, your favorite movie of all times, but it will definitely kind of stick with you. It's not one that you'll easily forget. There's some movies that I've watched and definitely forgot, but yeah, this will stick with you a little bit.
No, but I would also say if you have the choice, go ahead and see Evil Dead, and then you'll definitely be satisfied.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Evil Dead 1 or 2, then definitely check those out first.
I kind of want to watch that one now. Well, I'll watch that in my private life if I want to. Maybe that'll be a good one for me and the kiddos.
And we're gonna do. We'll be hopefully doing this for a while. So each Halloween we'll grab a bunch of more Halloween movies. That wasn't like with this first bag. I wanted to do a bunch of different things instead of like the traditional. Let's do John Carpenter's Halloween. Blah blah blah. There's so many. There's so many of those out there that at this point I don't know if our take would be as unique to warrant something like this. So, but yeah.
We'll see. Never know. Always leave it open. But this is, I'd say, this is worth checking out. Now, I guess that moves us on to our second main feature here today. And this one was, I like this one. I didn't have to fight with this one. This one went down a lot smoother for me. And the other one, I'm not sure if I would watch in a year. I'll just be honest. But this one, I could see myself watching in a year. This one is good. I mean, I liked it anyway. So this one, as below, so below, it comes from some ancient saying or whatever, which just means
comes from the Bible.
Yeah. Like where what happens in the higher level happens also at a lower level. Like so. Kind of gives you an indication of like you're dealing with some kind of like heaven hell kind of sort of thing. And of course, this is one of many to jump on, piggyback on, so to speak, Dante's Inferno, as it were. And we kind of reconceptualize it in its own way. And I think it does a very good job of it. I think it does it justice. Is it a classic like Dante's Inferno? No. But does it comport itself well? Yeah, absolutely. Enough for you to be entertained. Well, I'll go that far. So, And this 6.2 is garbage. That I
Right.
don't agree with that at all. Like, there's no way. Like, well, anyway, whatever. Just talking about this. That's
And
that's a garbage rating for this movie. That's borderline criminal. A little bit.
yeah, and again, I think horror movies are so subjective. It's almost like comedy. That it's for some people it works, some it doesn't. It's in horror even though it's one genre, it has lots of different flavors to it, and some people like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So yeah, it's hard to find something that everybody agrees on horror. So yeah, it's hard to find like some hugely top rated horror. I think you'll find that with things that have been around forever. Everybody has eventually agreed that it's great and have rated it since it's been out forever. So like The
Right.
Exorcist, I'm sure everybody will say that's the best horror movie ever. But yeah, it's with these newer ones, it's you're gonna get a kind of mixed bag as far as everybody how they feel. And the cool thing about horror movies, for the most part, like this is it applies to this one and the other one, is that they're only an hour and a half long, so you're not killing
Right.
most of your day watching a big Marvel epic. You're watching an hour and a half movie. So even if it's not
You mean,
the best in the world,
let me
you're not ruining your day.
let me hold you up there for a minute. You mean Marvel anything lately? It's you got to watch it for a week or whatever. It would take you a week to watch everything you need to watch to get up to speed. Just to kind of poke the bear a little bit. But yeah, anyway, go on.
Yeah. So yeah, it's about this woman that's obsessed with finding the Philosopher's Stone that her dad
Brad.
kind of got obsessed with as well, and eventually himself. And her pursuit of the Philosopher's Stone takes her to a couple of places, but she ends up in Paris and finds out that Philosopher's Stone is probably down in the catacombs.
Yep.
So she gets together a ragtag team to go down into the catacombs with her, and much like the Tomb Raider herself, kicks ass, or maybe not. Maybe catacombs kicks their ass. Yeah, it's like you said, I think I enjoyed this. Well, I did enjoy this more than the previous film. So I'm glad I
Agreed.
saved this one for the second in the double feature. But yeah, it's not a big budget movie, but it's done by a major studio. So they were able to get some quality actors in there. Not that the acting was bad in the previous movie, but it
No.
worked for what it was. This
Well,
movie has a much more serious tone to it, so you have actors that are appropriate for that.
Yeah, and to be fair, the other movie, you're literally watching, a good hour and change of that guy. I
Yeah,
mean,
pretty much. Yeah.
you are literally like the majority of the shots in the film are him,
Yep.
and that goes with the concept. But yeah, no, the acting was good. Again, I think this had 6.2 when we came in the door here and we were started talking about it. Like, there's no way, man. Like, come on,
Yeah.
like that's like a high sevens in my opinion. Like, yeah. So, but whatever, I would agree. And I was gonna say too. So, like, they're looking for this Philosopher's Stone that can turn things into gold and silver or something like that, and then
They should have called Harry Potter. He might have been able.
Right, yeah, because that was in there, right? But yeah, I'm not a Harry Potter nerd, so don't come at me, bro, if you're like all like I don't have nothing against it, don't get me wrong. I was just too old for it by the time it came through, and I was interested in far more things. And I also probably had my kiddos around that time too, so like my time was very much depleted. But yeah, so they do this thing, and just like in Dante's Inferno, there are 9 levels to hell or whatever, and essentially, like, you have to go travel through all of them. And then in Dante's Inferno, you find salvation through, you have to go through everything basically, like as a gauntlet, so to speak, for the soul. And basically this mirrors that. So, like, I think there's like a part early on, like where there's like the saying, and they're like, in order to get out something, you have to go down if you keep going. So like
Yeah.
it was just like, if you ever read Dante's Inferno or familiar with that, or the plays based off of that or whatever, then you understand the what's going to happen here. So
Yeah.
kind of sort of soft spoiler warning there a little bit, but I mean it's
Right.
Dante's Inferno's been for how many hundreds of years, so
Yeah. But yeah, they got to film in the catacombs. Paris actually let them go down in there, and
yeah, they did,
so that
actually.
and I read that before I started watching the movie. In watching it, I was kind of impressed with everything they were able to do down in the catacombs to get the shots, and it all kind of works. There's a scene where there's a car down there, a burning car, and then there's also a piano. They actually were able to bring those down into the catacombs and set all that up. So that's kind of crazy. And yeah, the catacombs is definitely a character in of itself. A lot of times with the found footage element of it, yeah, there's the element of, okay, well, who would have found this? Where was this? They do a really good job of showing you without showing you how that all gets done. It's a bit of a spoiler, so I won't go into that, but the mechanics of the found footage part of it works. Sometimes you kind of throw that out the window at one point, just for the narrative, and then because you could maybe forgive them, but that element is all correct. But the cool thing is, once they go down into the catacombs, they are in hell, like you said, Tay's hell.
Yep.
So normal physics and logic does not apply. And so there's the element of, are they all going crazy? Is this really happening? What's going on? And but with all good horror movies, at one point you got to say, okay, let's just go on the ride with them. Okay, let's just have this whole dream logic that they're experiencing, or hell logic, so to speak. Let's go along with that and see where that takes us. And if you're willing to go on that journey, you're going to have an enjoyable time. And I'm not real familiar with the circles of hell or the rings of hell.
I'm not
With
either.
Dante,
I'm not even gonna lie. I've never read Dante's Inferno from beginning to end. I've only read things based off of it, or plays, or books, or whatever. But so right. I'm familiar with the Cliff Notes version of it. So like I'm not even gonna sit up here and pretend anything other than drawing point A to point B. It's pretty obvious. It's just like the same thing for like what is that? Sons of Anarchy. Essentially, that entire series is based off of Hamlet. That was like, that's it. So like Shakespeare is constantly that reused, and so it's no wonder that other classic literature is also incorporated and reinvented and redone in new ways. But they do it in a way that is compelling and keeps you here. And I was just looking at Ben Feldman. He was in Mad Men. He's a great actor. So yeah, there is no like bad campy acting in this at all, in my opinion. Like I think it's like like the other one is what it is, like, because it kind of has to be that guy kind of has to be an a-hole, and he kind of has to be like self-absorbed influencer kind of jerk, like that you're kind of sort of rooting against, but kind of rooting for, like when you get into it, aside from being annoyed by it.
yeah. And
then, on the no social media thing, but this does it a different way, and it continues to draw you in, and these characters definitely have their own takes on things, for sure, as they go through their own trials. Like like I said, it's a gauntlet, like hashtag spoiler, whatever.
And Scarlett, the main character, and she's sort of obsessed and driven with it. She's gone a little crazy, maybe. So Ben Feldman as George is more or less our moral compass in this. And I think if you take anything away from this movie, you got to take away, don't go underground with a crazy woman. But that's always a good thing. But also with Ben Feldman, I was reading that he experienced quite a bit of claustrophobia being down in those catacombs and had to
Oh wow.
take quite a few breaks to kind of cope with it, which I believe if I with this movie and then also the movie Descent, there's which is about these women that go down into those caves. But yeah, that tight. I don't normally feel claustrophobia, but with these movies, I do definitely get a sense of that, and it's like, yeah, I don't think I would be down in there. That's not something I find cool, so to speak.
No, I would be like, you know what? I think I'm good. I'm pretty good in life. If I want something, I'll just earn it. How about that? How about I just do my own thing and then I can enjoy life and I don't have to chase after this thing? Yeah, it is surprising. Like, so there's like a the plot device here a little bit, but the stone, and you learn about it, but essentially it is it's just as much about the character's growth to a certain degree as it is,
Mhm.
horror, which is interesting in itself. That's why I really like this, because you could put it on a different axis and call it a different genre and warrant that. But
Yeah, and then neither me or Mike are scholars as far as Dante's Inferno. If
oh,
you actually are, I think you'll find quite a bit out more out of it than we got. Um, Now on IMDb, there's a trivia section on there. I don't recommend reading that before watching the movie, but there's like a spoiler section where it breaks down each of the circles of hell and shows you,
okay.
points out in the movie what those rings are and how they
Yeah.
represent that in the movie, which it was fun to read after I watched the movie to go, oh, okay, that makes sense, that makes sense. So it might be fun to go through and read all that and then rewatch the movie again, to see all of those elements that are in the movie, because it makes you realize how how smarter the movie is, and what they do, because all of it's kind of understated. They don't hit you over the head with it. But yeah, just one of them, just kind of small spoilers. They find the one guy that had been lost for a couple of years within the catacombs. They find him in the first ring of hell, which is limbo. So he's been kind of lost for 2 years
Okay.
and in limbo. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. And one other thing I'll point out is Benji, the guy that's doing the documentary on this woman, Scarlett, that's looking for the Philosopher's Stone. Other movies, he would have just been a cameraman. He would just been there for the found footage part of it.
Right.
With In this movie, he's very much a character, even though not a whole lot happened, or he doesn't have a whole lot of screen time since he's filming it all. But when he does, it tells quite a bit. There's a huge information dump on him each time you see him. So even though he doesn't have much screen time, he does have a whole story arc to it. And if you look into it, you could understand that character, his motivations, why he's there, the sins that he did. But if you just watch the movie without kind of ignoring him, you could kind of gloss over and not even see that. So that's kind of cool. I like there's many layers to it. So if you peel back those layers, you can learn more about the individual characters, and that's true for all of them. There's more meat on the bones for certain characters than there are for others. But yeah, the more you invest into the characters, more you'll come away with the movie and have a bigger appreciation for it.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, you like I said, it's just as much about their journey as it is horror. Like what they face, but and self honesty goes a long way. Spoiler, kind of. Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
at times I did get since they're going down those catacombs, and how many hours I've played a Tomb Raider. I did get vibes of Tomb Raider, and then as soon as I got that vibe, I go, okay, this is what would really happen to the real people going down in those tombs. And
Right.
it doesn't work as well for them as it does for for Laura Croft.
No, it does not. No, not at all. Not at all. No, this was good. It was I did enjoy it very much. And it was surprising. Like not as much as the other one was, but like I got this was easier to take at first watch. You know, I'd have to pause this one to make it through it.
Yep.
Come back with it in a better frame of mind, more
Yeah.
clear frame of mind. But this was good. I wonder, has the director done anything other after this one?
I was kind of curious
Gonna look
because I
that up.
enjoyed this so much. He did do some other movies I haven't seen that I kind of want to. Quarantine is a remake, a English remake of Record or Rec, REC.
Okay.
I've seen REC and really enjoyed it. So, and I just thought this was the American knockoff of it. So this one might actually be definitely something to see since the director did so well with As Above, So Below. But my instinct is to watch Wreck first because
Okay.
that one was really good. And then maybe watch this one as a follow up to see how well they translated it. But yeah,
This one just I have not seen this, but this reminds me a lot of The Crazies that came out not too long ago.
yep.
That I which I like. That one I enjoyed very much.
And
So I
Crazies
bet this one would,
is a remake of an old '70s George A. Romero movie called
you're,
Crazies.
you're right. You're
Yep.
absolutely right. Which I have not seen that's
The
probably a good show too later down the road to do.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
the modern day crazies I enjoyed very much, and it's something that I will I return to time to time. So
Mhm.
it's definitely in the brain. So like this would be cool to like watch, and I think I kind of dimly remember like when this was like being advertised, but like
Yeah.
who friggin' knows? Like, but that was actually 2008. That was back when we were working together, but that was a long time
Mhm.
ago. But
Yeah.
I would watch this for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. The whole we've only barely scratched the surface of found footage movies. So maybe
Correct.
this will be like a thing where each Halloween we'll grab a couple of found footage movies to go over, or maybe
I
we'll
think
do
that
it
makes sense.
more it may be a quarterly thing, but yeah.
I would love that for sure. There are so many. Well, for crying out loud, we probably talked about randomly. Just we picked up five. You
Hmm.
know that could each their own could probably be their own dedicated show more than likely. But yeah, this was I enjoyed this one a lot. As Below, So Below. Go watch it. Go see it. Tell us what you think. If you didn't like it, if you
Yep.
liked it, whatever. Deadstream, which is very annoying in certain parts, but stick through it or take a break and then come back the next day and watch it again or finish it and then
Yep.
you'll be good to go for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. If you don't like Deadstream, your kids might if they're a little bit older.
They might it definitely. Yeah. Well, who knows?
Mhm.
Like I read an article the other day that said that Gen Zers do not like it when millennials and older folks use the thumbs up symbol or something like that. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Sure. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I'm scared to do any hand signals anymore because people read into it.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. Yeah. Oh, and just to kind of they kind of call it out. There was like a scene here I thought was kind of cool, like where they incorporated like a little bit of Judaism. I'm Jewish, so it was kind of
Mhm.
cool to kind of see that as make it as like
Pop
a
up. Mhm.
yeah, like a kind of like a little small cameo, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Because
But it was just
these
interesting.
horror movies, usually are very heavily Christian based. So yeah,
Right.
so
And
having
he
the
definitely had a crucifix. He had all the things. Like the only thing he didn't have was a hammer and a stake and garlic. That's the only thing he didn't have.
Yep.
His
Yeah.
homemade DIY ghoul, anti-ghoul kit or something.
Yeah, he at one point toward the end kind of picks up the spirits and starts weaponizing certain things, and that
He does.
was kind of that was enjoyable. Yeah, like
Copyright, copy strike.
Copy strike, exactly.
Paranormal copy strike, whatever you want to call it, which I should say we are undefeated, and that we will be, because we this is fair use. So anyway.
Yeah. Oh, and before we go, the thing that connects these two movies, I didn't know it until after I saw them and reading a little bit more. In Deadstream, he mentions PewDiePie at one point, and in As Above, So Below, for promotions back in, I think, 2014, they got PewDiePie to go down in the catacombs as a promotional thing for them, him and his wife. So yeah, PewDiePie, he lives on and is influence between these two movies. So there you go.
Very cool. Yeah, I'd say these are two recommends. As Beloved, So Below for sure. And maybe if you have a little bit more patience, and we'll try it, see if you like it, kind of thing. Deadstream as well.
Yep. Yeah. So
cool.
You've already booked your trip to Paris to the catacombs, right, Mike?
Yes, one day I'm going to go. I hope to go soon. One day, maybe maybe next year. We'll see. Who knows? But it might not be Paris. It might be Italy. I have other. Not that you. Of course, if you go to Europe, you got to stop through Paris or something. But like I have other. I'm more fascinated by other parts of Europe. So like I'd probably if I picked a place to go for first, it'd probably be Italy. Just because I love Roman history, and anyway, that has nothing to do with this. But
but I hear
Paris isn't cool. I'm sure it is. Like of course it is.
The people there I hear are very, very nice. So
yeah, I've heard they're very French. And I just like Americans have opinions. I've heard the French also have opinions.
They are French watchers out there. Good on you. Oh, I gave you a thumbs up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I'll give you a thumbs up. Yeah, if you'll take it, I'll give it. So if you don't, just pretend I didn't. So whatever.
Yep. Trigger warnings. We do get.
Yeah, we don't want to be canceled. All right. Well, this has been our main event. Again, we would absolutely love it if you could stop by and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Give us a like on this. If you like this, let us know. More importantly, in the comments, let us know so we can keep iterating. If you have a great idea, we will always entertain those. And this week, I've been Mike.
And I'm Thomas. Don't forget to like, subscribe. And we've picked up a couple of subscribers this past week. So we've
thank you. Out there.
Those subscribers, keep on subscribing. And we'll see you in the next haunted house, and maybe we'll find some more found footage.
Yeah. Peace among worlds.
See